game, and there's something for us else to kind of look into, something that we were accustomed to, all the time, and it was taken away from us, and now the game is back on. And like I said, it's not such a big deal without the crowd thing. I think I haven't seen any interviews yet, but I imagine that would be my first question to any player. I mean, what's it like being out there and just crickets?
Well, I'll tell you what, Paulie, the Rangers better come ready to play because they're in the playing round. There's no figuring it out. Because if you're trying to figure it out, you're going back home after like a week of coming back.
They'll be all suited up, like you said, buddy, ready to go.
Right out of the taxi cab.
Hank's getting the start, right?
That's right off of the roulette table at the MGM Grand, right into the rink.
Hey, buddy, what's your take on the news here that Lindy Ruff might be was interviewed or could possibly go to the New Jersey Devils?
Love it. Take them. Enjoy, Devils fans. Our gift to you. We Ranger fans normally don't like giving gifts to Devils fans, but for this, we'll make the exception. Enjoy.
We'll drop them off.
When do you think that would happen? Like that wouldn't happen now, right? Like once this is over.
I don't see why they wouldn't. Isn't there a draft coming up too? I mean, why not get him in there and over there and before the tournament?
I guess the Rangers would just let him go.
Would we be okay?
It's almost like
would we be okay?
No, I mean we would be okay, but that would be sort of unusual, right? That's sort of like when you see some college football coaches leaving before like the bowl game. It's like you were with the team all year, and then the bowl game, it's like, oh no, I left Colorado to go to USC or whatever it is. That would be strange. Like you like lose them right before you come back before the play-in round.
Yeah.
What do we do? We bring Bookaboom back? What are we doing?
Ooh, Bookaboom, baby.
It would just be strange timing. That's why I was wondering. Like you saw him down there. Obviously, the Devils want to bring somebody in, as soon as they can. But are the Rangers are they saying, well, let's wait? If the Devils have contacted the Rangers about him, when are they allowing that to happen? I'd assume because they've had Ruff on for so long that they wouldn't, I assume they have some fondness for him. Why, I don't know. But, would they just be like, oh, yeah, leave. Don't worry about it. We'll figure it out.
Yeah, no, I mean, and you look at Lindy being in that situation too. He's been with this team, and he has a chance to at least be a part of the coaching staff for this tournament, one-of-a-kind tournament. Does he stick around, go, or if he gets offered the job, I guess he's got to take the job. I mean, obviously the Devils aren't going to be a part of this thing, so it's interesting. I mean, I don't think me or you are going to lose any sleep over it one way or the other, but I just thought it was kind of interesting that it's out there, and I'm just picturing Lindy taking that team over, and I just don't know if it's really a great fit for the Devils or just with some other guys that are out there. But hey, not to knock on Lindy. Lindy's all right. He straightened the ship out a little bit, right? We weren't complaining about him too much there towards the end of the
yeah.
season.
I mean, look, you can't.
Things are going away.
No, you can't. Yeah, you can't complain about the second half of the season. You are correct that a lot of the issues defensively. And I know there's questions as to whether or not he was even the defensive coach. I'm not even sure what the hell he was doing back there. But yeah, I mean, look, the Rangers defense definitely figured it out. I'm trying to think what are other Ranger Devils sort of crossovers? I mean, we had like Bruce Driver, John McClane. Anything more recent? Brian Boyle. He was on the Devils recently. He didn't go straight from the Rangers over there, though.
Yeah, that's not really too much of a big deal.
Yeah. I'm trying to think if there was anything big.
Well, yeah, I remember when I hated it when Bernie Nichols went there. Because I loved Bernie when he played with us.
Yeah. And he was big in that 94 series for the Devils against the Rangers.
Bernie. Yeah, I mean, Bernie was just
He was one of their better players in that series. You're right. That's a big one that I forgot.
Well, that was a trip, too, because, he's playing with them, playing well, and obviously, he was part of that big trade. Could you imagine if Bernie had went on and won the Cup that year in '94? The fact that he was traded, as part of that Messier deal a few years back. And then, and I don't think he wasn't on the Devils roster in '95. I don't think Bernie ever won a Cup. He missed out with LA. I don't think
that. Yeah, that may be the biggest one, the biggest Ranger that then went to the Devils. McLean. I guess McLean was a big time Devil player, huh?
Yeah, McLean.
What was he with? Was McLean on the team in '97? I'm trying to remember.
I don't know.
I don't think so. I don't think so.
I don't think so. Nerd geek here and start looking it up here on the phone and stuff. I'm just trying to use my fading memory here too. Well, I mean, if you go up and down, forwards, Ross, there's probably one other big guy we're forgetting.
Always, yeah, I'm sure there is.
I mean, obviously, it's a trip having Brandon Lemieux play for us after his father was such a big part of those early '90s teams as well too. Playing against them. And so that's kind of maybe a little connection there as well too. It
was always weird having like ex-Devil or an ex-Islander like LaFontaine. I mean, he was like, obviously after the Cup run, he was like Mr. Islander, and then he came to the Rangers. That was weird.
And I really enjoyed him playing here as a Ranger too.
Yeah, I mean, he was a guy. Yeah, I mean,
remember Keane taking him out. Our own guy.
Yes.
Center ice.
Yeah. Who was a big player, a role player, but had a big time role it was in '97 was Patrick Flatley for the Rangers in the '97 run, and he got hurt in the Flyer series when everyone got hurt. Sundstrom got hurt. He got hurt. I think Bill Berg got hurt. Like all the guys that were going to go up against like the Legion of Doom line, they kept getting hurt. Patrick Flatley, which, that was weird. And obviously the top one was Trache behind the bench. I mean, that didn't last very long, but
it's still a weird. That was a weird moment for us, wasn't it?
Yeah, and that whole decision was strange too because Trache like wrote out like a whole thing. Remember, he wrote like why he wanted to be the coach, and it impressed Sather, and that was the big thing that he like wrote out this.
Who did Trotz replace? Do you remember who?
I
can't remember who was the coach before Trache.
It wasn't Lowe, was it?
I can't remember. We're horrible. Yeah. We're horrible Ranger podcasters. We know nothing. I don't know why anybody's haven't got.
Hey, I'm like 10 Pabst ribbons in. So,
is that what you were drinking today?
Yeah.
Oh, buddy.
Old man beer today.
Speaking of drinking, man, you got to let the fan base know about the switch you made.
Oh yeah.
I mean, this is pretty important.
I have been, Paul, one of the biggest White Claw supporters on the planet. But, someone introduced me to the Montauk seltzers 2 weeks ago, and I don't know. I haven't gone near the White Claw since. And so, it's good, Paulie, and the excuse I can make is, we're Long Islanders. We got to support, the local businesses here. So I think it's okay that I've transitioned over to the Montauk seltzers.
Well, I'm really happy. I'm a huge fan of Montauk, the place. It's my favorite place in the world. I love going out there. Montauk Brewery, their beers are phenomenal. The seltzers, I haven't tried one yet, but that's just great stuff. And I'm proud of you, man. I'm okay with it. I'm okay. I'm just glad you told me before me and, marketing division here went to White Claw because we were going to try and pitch a big sponsorship for, the next full hockey season that comes back, whenever that is. So now it's a little local. I can actually drive out there and stop in and bring a couple of T-shirts and a hat and, a picture of you and We'll see. We'll seal the deal with Montauk Seltzers, buddy. What's your favorite flavor?
I like the berry. It's pretty good. McBerry, I think it is.
You are a fruity fella.
It's pretty good. Pretty good.
Pretty good indeed. And you are feeling pretty good. All good stuff, man. So anything else that we want to try and cover here? I mean, obviously, a little bits of news tidbits in here for us to kind of, hang in there and kind of jump on here a little bit. But I think, what you were talking about at the beginning of the show, and it's for everybody else here, too, is just to kind of wait and see. And it's going to be weird, having, hockey here in the summer. Can I get a quick take? Can we do a baseball thing and just get your take on this 60-game season that these multi-gazillionaires finally put together? I mean, what's your take on that real quick?
Baseball, you mean?
Yeah.
Look, I'm similar to, I'm just happy to hear like this stuff is coming. I have the same concerns. I mean, obviously, and a week ago, it didn't look like any of this was going to happen, but that normally happens before an agreement is settled. It's always darkest before dawn, or whatever the saying is. So, you assume they were eventually going to come up with something. It's interesting that they couldn't figure this stuff out, but then the word came out that baseball could just say we're starting, and that's fine. It's like, well, why didn't they do this 2 months ago? It was sort of strange. And they were just like, okay, the season's going to start on this date now, after they couldn't come up with some type of agreement. And the Players Association was like, oh, yeah, that works. So, what were they arguing about the whole time? Why did this take so long? It was pretty strange. But I am happy to see that we'll get a little Mets baseball. I think similar.
You're excited for Mets baseball. Who owned the team?
What?
Who owned the team?
Alex Rodriguez and Jennifer Lopez are going to buy the Mets. It's going to be fantastic.
Do you guys even have a manager?
Do we have a manager? What they hired? What the hell did they hire? Who is our manager?
Thank you very much.
Goodness gracious. Paulie, I've been away from sports for way too long.
Everybody has, buddy. It's okay, man. It's all right. It's all right. It's it's a little different for us to deal with, and some of us go out and drink Pabst Blue Ribbon for 6-7 hours. The rest of us do other things, more productive things.
Nice. Well, now that I'm remembering, and by remembering, I mean looking it up on my phone. Well, we hired Carlos Beltran, but then he got caught with his cheating. So then we got friggin' Luis Rojas.
Oh,
so
yeah, he's got.
Who actually, to be honest, I was more worried about Beltran being the coach because he had zero experience than Rojas, who was actually within the organization and he knows these younger guys. So to be honest, I think Rojas is probably the better fit with this team than Beltran. Now that we've transitioned from a Ranger podcast to a Met podcast. That's my 2 cents on that managerial hire.
It's exciting, man. It's
By
exciting.
the way, I think the only people that were excited about the coronavirus and all the protests are the Houston Astros, because they were getting destroyed before all this happened, right? They were literally the butt of every joke. Everybody was angry with them, and it was just hate, so much hate going on the Houston Astros, and now literally nobody talks about that cheating scandal at all. It's it never even happened.
Well, believe me, once they start showing pictures of these guys, in training camp and getting ready, believe me, it's going to come back. And look, I'm telling you right now, as far as us Yankee fans, anytime they, come out here, I don't even know how that's going to work. I haven't even looked at the schedule. I don't know if they're even going to play each other this year or not, but believe me, they will be reminded as the season begins one way or the other. So we'll see what happens with that. But the more abuse they get, I'm all for it. Bring back the abuse there, KD, for the Astros, and we'll continue to abuse the Met fans like us Yankee fans like to do as well too. It's all good.
I was gonna say you're a Yankee fan. You're your ass, and now you have an excuse to blame it on.
Wow. Angry Met fan. I
They
don't get it.
beat you.